guys, welcome to the Average Joe Cooking Show. Today we're going to be doing some stuffed manicotti. It sounds pretty elaborate, looks elaborate, tastes phenomenal, super easy. There's a little bit of prep work that is involved in it. I'm going to run you through a quick list of ingredients that you're going to need for this. First off, if you have some homemade spaghetti sauce, you're going to need at least 2 cups of it. You can use the jar or the can, whatever you want. Just, some nice red spaghetti sauce. You're going to need a 15-ounce tub of ricotta cheese. You're going to need some Parmesan, aged, nice and finely ground. A couple of eggs, and 1 small 1.5 pound package of mild Italian sausage. Now you'll see that I've already browned this up. There's a reason why, because you want to let this come back down to a nice cool consistency so it doesn't mess with your eggs and your ricotta cheese when you go to mix up the filling. So, that being said, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start by getting our water to boil for our manicotti shells. So let's go ahead and that's backwards. There we go, nice and high. Now, those of you who have never heard of manicotti, this is basically what manicotti is. It's a nice, thick, large noodle. And what we're going to do is we're going to boil this so it's nice and pliable, and we're going to fill it with cheese and meat. Very delicious. Cover it with marinara sauce, stick it in the oven, serve it. It's great. Okay, couple other things you're going to need for this recipe. You're going to need at least a 1/2 pound of mozzarella, because I like cheese things, so you can use a little or more if you want. Some nice Italian flat leaf parsley, and of course some olive oil and a little bit of kosher salt. And that reminds me that while our water is coming up to boil, you just want about a 1/2 teaspoon of kosher salt in your water, and about 1-2 teaspoons of olive oil. This helps to keep the noodles separate, and it keeps them from being sticky. So we're going to let that come up to boil, and in the meantime, while that's coming up to boil, we're going to go ahead and we're going to start preparing our filling. So what we need to do here, nice little spatula, cheese. That's simple. Now I'm going to run you through this filling. What you're going to want to understand, though, is that a lot of this is eyeballing. I've been doing this for quite a few years, so I kind of know how much I'm putting in at any particular time. But if you want exact measurements, I'll try to do my best. So you're going to need 2 medium eggs. 1, 2. You're going to need about a 1/2 cup of Parmesan cheese. Of course, this is going to be a little bit tricky. There we go. So, and that's about a 1/2 cup. There we go. Okay. And you're also going to need about a 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of shredded mozzarella. Clean up my mess here real quick. Set that there. Review. Now, if you have a food processor, you can go ahead and grate this in the food processor. If you have one by hand, then you're doing what I'm doing. But you want this to be shredded. So that actually looks to be just about right. We'll save that for later because there's also a little bit of mozzarella that gets put on top. There we go. Now, back to the package of Italian sausage. I didn't buy the links, I bought just a regular, almost like a ground beef package of a mild Italian sausage. I did up the whole package because honestly, I can stick the leftovers in the freezer, add them to a sauce for like a weeknight meal when I'm just making spaghetti, or I can, mix them into like a breakfast burrito in the morning. There's plenty of things you can do with the leftovers. So I'm only going to use about half of what I've got here, which, like I said, the package was about 1.5 pounds, so, half of that. My math skills. Go figure. Okay. Last but not least, let's move that out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing, is your Italian flat leaf parsley. I'm just going to bunch it up. Call that good. You don't need a lot, just a little. Get that into a nice little bunch. And just rock your knife back and forth across it a few times. Scoop it back into a little pile. Ooh, you can smell it from here actually. Okay. Now we're going to add this to our mixture. And of course, we're going to mix this up gently. You don't have to mash it all up together, but mix this up. You want to make sure everything is nice and incorporated and evenly distributed throughout the throughout the mixture. Well, there we go. We're getting it nice and incorporated. There we go. Look at how that looks just delicious as is. But of course you want to make sure it's cooked first because of those raw eggs that are in there. Now, hearkening back to some previous episodes, you guys have seen me make pastry bags out of Ziploc bags, and that's what we're going to do again today. And so, because there's no reason to go out and spend the money on pastry bags when you've already got them pretty much in your cupboard as is. So, the only difference is we're going to have to make the hole in the bag just a little bit bigger to make sure that ground up sausage makes it through okay. You don't want it plugging it up when you're trying to fill these things. When these things are done, you're going to go ahead and let them cool on the counter. A trick to keeping them from sticking is you want to make sure that they're separated individually, of course, and you want to lay them out on a nice piece of wax paper or tin foil if you have it, and let them cool individually. You try not to let them get stuck together, so after about 5 minutes, you're going to want to turn them over so they're cooling down evenly, because that counter is nice and cool. It's going to cool the pasta, but on the other side, that pasta is still a little bit warm, so you're going to want to flip it. I hope you understand that. So let's close up this. Move these out of the way. And this is just now starting to come up to a boil. So now that that's starting to come up to a boil, I'm going to take my spaghetti sauce and I'm going to put it on about medium-low, because I just want it to get warm. I don't want it to start going crazy. And then I turned on the wrong burner again. There we go. So now that this is going gangbusters, we're going to go ahead and we're going to slide these in. They're going to take about 7 to 8 minutes to boil. I like to check them about after 6 though, because you don't want them too overdone. If they get overdone, then they just completely fall apart on you. You want them to be a little al dente, which means slightly underdone, or the Italians say with a bite. That way they're a little bit easier to manage and work with. So we're going to come back in about 6 minutes and check on our manicotti. Okay, these have been going for about 6 minutes now, 7 minutes. And they're just to the point where we're ready to let them cool. I like to check at least 2 or 3 of them just to make sure I'm getting a consistent amount. All right. So we're going to go ahead and turn that off. Now, let that calm down just a little bit before I drain it. You got yourself your Ziploc bag. I've cut a nice big hole in the bottom of it. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to fill our bag. You don't want to get it too full because you can always refill it. So, about enough to do 2 or 3. There we go. And there we go. That'll be your pastry bag for filling these things. So let's go ahead and we're going to get these out of the pot now. Oh, that one just split. That's one thing you got to be careful about, is that these things will split rather easily. See that? So, but the best part is you don't have to use every single one of these. You can just be gentle. Or you can camouflage them with sauce too. I'm going to let these cool down until they're cool to the touch. About 4 or 5 minutes is really all you need. Okay, when these things, when your sauce starts to burp like that, see that? Just go ahead and turn it off. It's warm enough, because what we're going to end up doing is, after we've stuffed these noodles, we're going to cover them with marinara or spaghetti sauce. We're going to stick them in a 350 oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. And I'll go ahead and bake. Start. There we go. It's nice having a smart stove. It lets you know when you're doing things wrong. There we go. And we're done. All right. Let's come on back in about 5 minutes. Give these a chance to cool down. We'll start filling up our manicotti. Thanks. All right, now we've let these set for about 5 minutes, and they're very, very manageable now. Before we start loading them into the pan, you're going to go ahead and get a nice sized baking pan. Put a little olive oil in there, and you just want to smear the bottom of it, help keep them from sticking while you're cooking them. There we go. All right. Around the sides, there we go. Now we start stuffing shells, or noodles. Sorry, shells is another thing. So very, very gently. Let me clear up the little workstation here. You'll see that they're at a bias. They're at angles. So you want to put it flat on the surface, just like that, holding it loosely but firmly. You know, loosely but firmly. Sounds like some sort of 80s song. Anyway, hold it, get the pastry dish, and just start filling it up. Careful you don't want to split the sides. When it comes out the other end, you're done. Now repeat the process until they're all filled. Okay, we got room to do 2 more, so, and I've also got enough filling for 2 more. It's wonderful how these things work out because we have 2 that didn't make it. Shells, that is. Noodles. Keep calling them shells. There we go. See, this one split down the side. This one just got hammered in the pot. This one's got a little bit of a tear. Big tear. I'm going to use the one with the split down the side. Sometimes you have to make these command decisions on the fly. Put him tear side down. I almost put that in my mouth. All right, come on, I know I got enough to fill this thing. Voila. Okay, and then when you're done, you take the casualties, bag them and tag them. All right, now we've got our manicotti all stuffed and looking pretty. We've got our pasta sauce. Let me get a spoon. That looks good. I'm going to stir this up. Delicious. And you just want to run it over the top, just like so. You're not covering the entire noodle. There we go. Voila. Now, we're going to grate up a little bit of that leftover mozzarella. Now, if you have a food processor, I recommend grating mozzarella in a food processor because mozzarella is kind of a soft, spongy cheese, and it just is really, really difficult to do by hand. It can be done, but that should be enough. Okay. So, just over the top, nice and easy. Just enough. Because you got to remember, these things are chock full of cheese, so there's no reason to overload it. So, there we go. Nice. Perfect. All right. Got that out of the way. Now, we're going to cover this with some tin foil. We're going to stick it in the oven for about half an hour, 350. And give me my tin foil. I'm going to show you guys another quick trick that'll help you out. Dull side, shiny side. This tin foil has two different sides. Take the dull side up. Not too much, just about a little less than a teaspoon. And you're just going to kind of guesstimate the size of your pan, and you're just going to rub that oil all over. You're asking, why is he doing this? Well, if you've ever made lasagna in the oven and covered it in tin foil, and then you pulled that tin foil off, and the entire layer of cheese on the top of that lasagna comes off, you know why. This will help the cheese to release and not get stuck to your aluminum foil. Nice and tight. You'll notice that, like I said, that manicotti is not drowning in sauce because there's enough liquid in there that those shells won't dry out. It'll keep it kind of steamed, and they'll come out perfect. So come on back in 30 minutes and we'll look at this. Okay, kiddos, it's been about 30 minutes. We're gonna pull that out of the oven, take a look at it, and see our masterpiece. Another kitchen tip, don't stick your face directly over the oven door when immediately you open it, because you're gonna get blasted. Oh. Sometimes I'm wondering why I still have eyebrows. All right. Now, let's see what there is to see. Look at that. Oh, God, I wish there was smell-o-vision. I really do. That smells fantastic. Looks good. Simple, simple to do. It sounds daunting. There is a little bit of prep work, but it's all simple stuff. It's a good quality meal that you can serve your family any night of the week. The ingredients, believe it or not, are about under $20 for all this. We'd like to thank our sponsor, Winegars, again for providing us with the food which we cook with. If you're in the area, Winegars has got 3 markets, one in Roy, one in Clearfield, and one in Bountiful. We'd encourage you to shop there because they've always got good deals, fresh ingredients. And we'd also like to encourage you to visit our Facebook page, become a fan of the show, provide us with any comments, good or bad, indifferent, and we'll see you next time. Until then, happy eating.